Hello and welcome to the Radiant Rebirth online retreat, where we are igniting our age of empowerment, owning who we truly are, gaining clarity of direction so that we can take that soul-aligned action with joy, grace, and ease. Today, I am overjoyed to be joined by Rozy Glow Hanness. And Rosanna is an intuitive empowerment coach, spiritual activator, and divine channel, helping clients to activate their authentic selves to bring about peace and have the most impact with their soul purpose. Rosanna, it's beautiful to have you here with us today. Thank you.
I'm delighted to be here with you, Kia. Absolutely delighted, and with all of the community. Hello, everybody.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited to have you here. I know you have so much to share. So, it's going to be difficult trying to condense it into the time that we have, but we're going to do our best. And I really want to just dive into what we're talking about today. So creating from the feminine principles, And as I say that, it's a lot of vibration around that. So can you explain to us a little bit more what you mean by that and how it applies to, women in this demographic, so women over 50? How does it apply to us?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, where do we start? I can immediately feel, I'm imagining others will be feeling an activation on the left side. So there's a lot of energy wanting to come through to allow us to release the blocks to receiving. Because ultimately, as the feminine, the model really of the mother, of the woman is an endless giver, right? And it's not actually helping us to thrive. And if we want to create from the feminine principle, we create from an overflowing cup. So that's the main difference. So, to give you a little bit more around my background, I spent years working with fertility, pregnancy, birth, and the first 7 years of life. In fact, my introduction to all this spiritual work when I was 14 was having a rebirthing set of sessions, which taught me the impact of how my birth has influenced my expectation in life, right? I had no idea that this was going to also mean pregnancy and even conception and everything else that happens. But what many of us fail to realize is that the part of us that's making decisions on our behalf is actually no older than 7. And as a result of that, we have a very narrow and fear-focused decision maker, like blinkers on decision maker, actually, guiding us. So in the world that we live in today, we're coming out of the patriarchal paradigm presently. I think everyone here will resonate with the idea that the age of Aquarius has been dawning since the 70s, maybe the 60s even. So, we're here to experience this. And I imagine most of this audience will resonate with the concept of being a light worker or an empath or maybe even a starseed. So I often say I've come from the future to bring the message of peace, because from where I come from, peace is the norm, right? And so to have that conversation in a world that is very much focused on struggle and stress and lack programming and avoiding pain and being fear motivated and therefore trying to control outcomes all the time, it's a very constrictive paradigm, right? So as we're on this journey of awakening, and typically as women, we go through the process of what is expected of us, right? Either we're good girls or we're rebels, or somehow we toe the line, and then you do what you're meant to do. You fall in love, you get married, you have kids, or you don't, right? You go down whatever route you feel. But either way, on some level, there's a shutting down or there's a rebelling going on, right? So being aware of this means we're not really in our authenticity. We're not really aware of what it means to be in the balanced masculine and feminine within. So regardless of gender, regardless of life experience, to this point in time, every one of us has been grown in a womb. And the womb has a huge impact on us. It is actually the first provider energy. Although we tend to associate providing with the masculine, this is really about how were we provided for, and how well a mother can provide for her unborn child will depend on her own conditioning, her own experience in the womb, and also how well supported she feels by maybe her partner, society, work, finance, you name it, right? So for those who are on an awakening journey, most of us have learned to create from our struggle programming, which I call our ego programming, which is the under 7-year-old. We've learned to manifest through law of attraction, with the idea that what you focus on, you manifest, without necessarily appreciating that the conscious mind is not in control most of the time, but the subconscious is. And so for those of us who are on this path of vision boards and affirmations and, doing little things that hopefully will make a big difference, we will only really be able to impact our reality for a maximum of 6 minutes of every hour, right? The rest of the time, the moment we're thinking or doing something that, allows us to sort of be on autopilot, the subconscious programming kicks in. So creating from the feminine principle, the best way I can describe it is it's creating from feeling frequency of already having manifested what you desire. So the example of a woman who wants to conceive, for example, she's already pregnant. What does that feel like? Now, for a woman who's never given birth before or had a baby or been pregnant, that's hard to imagine, right? But you can kind of piece it together. And that's what the role of the imagination is. It's to get us out of what we know through our brains and the computer programs that repeat the past in the future, and to actually allow us to entertain the possibility of what else is possible. What would that feel like? What might it feel like? So the principle of, when I look away, by the way, I'm just tuning in. That's what's happening if you think I'm all over the place. So basically, what it comes down to is we can create from a force of will. We can create from a place of, this is what I want, and damn it, I'm going to get it no matter what. But that is a very constrictive place that really operates from our wounded self, mainly in the solar plexus, but also sacral, can relate to root, can even relate to heart a little bit, just depends whereabouts it's coming from. And this is what I would call co-creating in the fourth dimension or fourth densities. They're both slightly different, but the frequency of the mind, right? Whereas when we really want to be soul activated, I call us heart-centered, soul activated divine humans. We're basically putting our soul in control, and we're allowing ourselves to come to a place where there are infinite choices available to us. But what is the most optimal path? The one where I'm having the most fun, the most grace, the most joy, as I discover what I'm most passionate about and share this with the world. Because remind me to talk about different levels of soul mission, because I think that'll be really useful for everybody here today. Yeah. And this bit is where we go, all right, it's not just about visualizing. It's not just about vision boards. It's not just about affirmations. It's actually about being in the receivership, the frequency of having rather than longing for. And specifically around love, I think this is so important, because if we're having an awakening frequency age 50 up, we're in a place where typically the things we were meant to do, the dutiful things, have been done. And now it's like, well, now what? Right. And this is what I mean about different levels of mission. And so very often the clients that come to me, if they're over the age of 50, they've been through either a divorce that was unexpected, or they've been longing out for ages. The kids have grown up, gone to uni. Now we can do this. Or there's been a sudden death or something that has meant, oh, okay, I actually want to know more about who I am now, because that was the life I was living. And I'm now seeing that wasn't my authentic truth. Right. So creating from the feminine principle, that was the long version. The short version is feeling frequency with intention, but from the place of letting go of attachment to outcome. It's not I have to have this no matter what. It's this or something better. And in order for us to take inspired action, we don't take any action until we're in the feeling frequency of embodying. Then we look at what is required.
I love that, and really what you're talking about is being ignited to take action, being inspired to take action, as opposed to sort of like having it on a checklist and doing it. It comes from more of that feeling sense. And you mentioned a few things that I've written down as you were talking, the role of imagination, what else is possible. And, for, women in this audience who, have done all of the things, right? They've crossed the T's and they've dotted the I's, and they've raised families and had very successful careers, and they've done all of this stuff. And sometimes maybe they have trouble imagining what else is possible. How would you address those people who don't even know how big or how wonderful this next phase can be?
Think less, breathe more, drop out of your head into your heart. um, yeah, my feeling with this is obviously repetition is key for any habit, right? Any new habit that you want to develop and anything you want to let go of. So anyone who's been getting up at 6 a.m. every day doing the same thing is going to go, well, what else do I do, right? So I love this idea that we have this, when I talk about the brain, that's here, right? That's the computer that relies on past information to create the future. But when we talk about the mind, we're talking about the field, the collective consciousness, right? And there are different levels of mind. So what I love to do in these circumstances is to pose the question, what else is possible? Like, what is inspiring me? Because typically you have to get to a point where you're like, I'm not really feeling the joy in this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
What else is possible? Like it could be a relationship, could be a career, could be a hobby. And I used to run a yoga business called Enjoy Yoga. And I remember the first cacao ceremony I went to, I kind of had to admit to myself that I thought it was fulfilling my soul purpose, but I was not in joy.
Yeah.
Right. And that's how the concept Rozy Glow was born, was from that moment. Right. So the dissatisfaction is the key.
Mm-hmm.
And then to activate imagination, we're then going shopping in the collective field. We're looking for information. What does, when I look at someone who's got something and I feel maybe jealous or envious or like, can I have that too? That's a sign, that I want that, right? And if it's available for them, it's available for me too. I just have to line up with it. Everything exists. We just need to line up with it. And for most of us, and feels very important to address, is that we're all epigenetically, so from one generation to the next, we're dealing with a legacy of trauma that is unhealed, right? And it can go way, way, way back. But if we just deal with First and Second World War, which is near enough for everyone to kind of have a concept around, those generations did not have time to really feel the pain and seek out therapy and everything else, right? So the legacy's been passed on to us and our children and our grandchildren and maybe our parents. It just depends on how awake they were at the time. So at this point in time, we have everything available to us to be able to prevent trauma being passed to the next generation, right? And to clear up our own. So I feel for a lot of seekers, right, who are ready to be ignited and activated, they know that their sole purpose is to clear up the debris that they haven't cleared up yet. So then there's the freedom within, like in your cell, there has to be a reprogramming of the cell memory and the cell membrane to look for something different to find the experience of it. Yeah. The nucleus is not the brain of the cell. We know this now. It's the cell membrane. So in the same way as I said about the womb is the first sort of, it's the incubator. I call it like the mother's eyes are like a periscope, and you've got a submarine, and the information's passing through the hormones to the baby, which was every one of us was that baby at some point, about how safe the world is. Yeah. So if you're in fear, you can't think beyond survival, right? There's no imagination. There's just get me to safety now. And everything's threatening. Everyone and everything. You only hear the words that are threatening. Yeah. Right? So until that bit is dealt with, actually, imagination is tricky to work with, because we need a reprise from that fight, flight, freeze, fawn, right?
That's really powerful. While we're still in that state, there can be no imagination because we're just trying to make it. We're just trying to survive. I know that you have some information that you wanted to share that really comes from your book, but I really want to make sure that we've got enough time for you to share that, because I think it's going to be really impactful and the audience will really love seeing that. So would you like to share your screen?
Of course, I would love to. And actually, let's just so these are the star maps. There's some context for everybody. I recently wrote a book and it's not out for sale yet, but it's called Star Peace 101. And this came about from basically a loud voice in my head on the 31st of October 2020. It was just after Boris Johnson had done another one of his updates. And yeah, this was the start of me getting really clear audience. So this superpower was not activated, before. Light language wasn't activated before. A lot of things came about through basically the challenges that we were facing and having to go inward. So I will share with you the 6 co-creation steps that are basically the process I take my clients through, and it's all about how you put your soul in control and navigate life from that perspective. But just before we went on, I asked you to pick a star map and for us to actually find out, because these will be a set of oracle cards soon. And these are the 6 fuel shifts that we're required to make. So for this audience, the one that came up was actually not enough, which leads to this lack programming and also greed. Like if you feel you've got any kind of like overeating or overcompensating on some level, it's a greed wound, okay? It's a lack wound in itself. And it's how we go from that to plenty, because for many of us, even in our most well-meaning, heart-centered, awakened state, we've got so much judgment in us, right? For ourselves and for others. So we project, or it's guilt, blame, shame, right? So the message here is we are all living out the scarcity memories of our ancestors through the expression of our DNA. Are we ready to co-create a plentiful reality for all? Good. Remember, the glass is neither half full nor half empty. It is refillable. So if we can start from that place, because that is where the soul really can enter, okay? It's an endless flow, and we can only really make space for it if we have cleared the density, yeah, in our energy field and also in our cellular memory, and allow there's space for this light. So can you see this okay? Got a little, just move that out of the way. Is that clear to you?
Perfect.
Great. So these are the 6 co-creation steps that are basically, when I work with people in a small group or one-to-one, I take them through this when I call it the fearless, loved up and limitless journey. And to me, I would love us to all be taught this at school. So the first thing is about putting your soul in control. And this is what you're talking about, being ignited. Okay, I call it switched on. It's one thing to put something into, you know, if you put a plug in, you've got to plug it into the socket and then switch it on. So putting your soul in control is whatever your daily practice is for actually calling your soul self in to lead the way, as opposed to just getting up, checking your phone, getting out of bed, doing the autopilot, right? So many of us have developed a morning routine. The thing, first of all, though, is really, as you did earlier, it's like, how am I right now? What's here with me right now? Have I woken up anxious? Have I woken up sad? Have I woken up excited? Is there a song in my head? Like there was a song in my head in the middle of the night last night. So just being with ourselves is the key, and then calling. So this is your human self, and then your soul self can enter, right? So we have two, and this is often, well, we're multidimensional, right? But the soul self and the human self can often want different things. I think it's important to remember that. So I would love to just take everyone through a really quick little activation around this one, and then we could go through the other steps. But essentially, this is just a part. I didn't mention this to you before, but I do teach online multidimensional yoga. I don't teach any physical classes anymore. But for those who want to have an experience of embodying soul light through a physical practice, there is links on my website I'll give to you around this. And it's simple yoga. It's really accessible. But let's just do the starting bit, okay? So if you want to rub your hands together, this is every day for me. This is part of the Gaia Source Higher Self Pickup. And have a little shake. It's like, ooh, just clearing my energy field. Then you can bring your hands to your heart center or press them together. So if you feel in conflict, press them together. This mudra literally clears opposing forces. It neutralizes them. If you don't feel in conflict between your human and your soul, or you're unsure of yourself, you can bring your hands to your heart and just close your eyes for a moment and welcome your breath. And there's no censoring the breath. Just notice how you're breathing. Are you wanting to breathe in and out through your mouth? Are you breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth? Does your breath feel forced anywhere? Strained? Are you a good yogi, breathing in and out through the nose and ujjayi? Like what's your story around your breath? And just let your lungs inflate globally. Let them inflate down, up, front, back, side to side. And remember that your breath is with you. It's your best friend from the moment you are born to the moment you leave this physical body. It's going to be with you. It's a constant. And it's our collective breath, actually. So just allowing now the heart to lead the head. It's a conscious decision, heart-brain resonance, to express gratitude for the fact that right now we've remembered to do this. Choosing my heart to lead. I'm calling my soul self in. And I invite you to have your legs uncrossed. Make sure your body's uncrossed. Now with your nose, draw a circle in the air in front of you. And just do it 3 times to the right, 3 times to the left. Imagining your nose is like a magic paintbrush. You're creating a boundary to step into, a portal to step into. So you can notice what color it is. Is it glittery? And before we step into it, we're now going to download and upload. So as you draw your nose down towards your chest, you open the back of your heart. You're calling in source self. And then as you lift your head up, draw your nose up, you're uploading from the earth the codes of liberation. Drop your chin down again, receiving the codes of inspiration, bringing the chin up. And again, the codes of liberation. Now, with your nose, you're drawing a straight line. This is you choosing to be a conduit of source energy, an acupuncture needle bringing peace, love, whatever you want to this earth. And then inhale, chin neutral. And now as you exhale, turn your head to the left and just acknowledge the previous versions of you that brought you to this moment. Give them all love because you are here today because of them. And then inhale, center. And exhale, turn your head to the right. And just welcome the future you who is happy, healthy, wealthy, and in love. That version of you who is having the best experience right now of exploring her soul mission, of expressing herself in alignment with the divine. And bring this version of you to your now moment by bringing your chin forward. Okay, so we claim it. Now we're going to step into the sphere, which becomes our creativity studio. I call it a sphere of compassion. And make that sphere as big as the room that you're in, or however close to you want it to feel safe or expanded. This is where you're creating from now. So let's call in our highest self. And I have a few I am statements I use, remembering that what you say after I am must be obeyed. So no negative talk afterwards, right? So you can repeat after me if you desire, just notice how it feels, but say it out loud. I am all that is. I am the one self I am. I am that I am. I am the source of my creations. I am the creator of my reality. I am the creation. I am a multi-dimensional being of love and light. I am sovereign. I am free. I am putting my soul in control. I am surrendering control to my soul. I am aligning with the win-win-win in everything and the highest good of all. I am getting used to things working out for me better than I could expect. I am safe. I am thriving. I am that I am. And just imagine now, beautiful downpour of celestial blessings flowing through your own body. You've plugged in, you've switched on, you're receiving these codes now. They're moving down into your earth chakra, about 3 foot beneath the earth, spreading across the planet and going down to the core of Mother Earth as well, wrapping around the crystalline core. And as we receive from above, we can receive from below. So just as we have the downloads from above, we can now upload from Gaia all of the precious gems of this planet, the crystalline bed, the master memories of our previous incarnations are in the earth. They're in the darkness, in the density. Gold, silver, everything is down in the earth. So breathe it up through your body. And out through the crown of your head, up through the soul chakra, through our sun, our galactic sun, universal sun, multiversal sun, omniversal sun. Here we are, plugged in, switched on. Hallelujah. And notice that the outline of your body starts to glow. Your sphere is glowing. And within the sphere, there is your light body, which is probably looking like a six-pointed star. Some of you may see it like a diamond shape, triangle above, triangle below, like a deck of cards. Now notice if you can spin your light body. That's really good cleansing. And let's just call in, I release everyone and everything. I am sovereign in my energy. I am safe. I am that I am. I am that I am. I am that I am. And whatever colors come through for you, trust it. That's your color for the day. Color all layers of your energy field, your being, what I call your divine architecture with it, and then gently come back. Hello.
That was absolutely beautiful. That was absolutely beautiful. I feel vibrations all throughout my body and beautiful golden light. And so I want to say, unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. Even if those who are watching don't get the rest of, don't get the rest of the chart, and the chart is up there, you will be sending and including a gift for the rest of the people, everyone who has registered for this retreat. So they will get this information. But I think the most beautiful thing is that, you know, you take yourself through this beautiful, beautiful activation that you've just taken us through. So I want to really express my gratitude to you for that. It was beautiful.
You're super welcome. And I mean, this is something I'm happy to send out. So it's not a problem. If anyone does desire to book a call, if you're interested in finding out more about this methodology, it applies to everything. So once you've kind of got these steps and you start with what we just did, which is putting your soul in control, you end with surrendering control of your soul.
Mhm.
And that's the key, right? It's just living from a different place within. So there's so much we could say. That's a good place to end
I
it.
love that. I love that. Putting your soul in control, I think, is such a beautiful and potent message. And if you stop sharing your screen for a second, because I want everyone to see you before we go. Wonderful. So can you just remind people how they can get in contact with you?
Yes, of course. Well, I'm one of those people that I'm multidimensional, so I don't just have one website, I have three. So it very much does depend on what you're into. But the one that most people come to first that has all of my general coaching and yoga offerings is rozyglow.com, which obviously I'll send you the link to that. And this one is there's a free gift, which is the Thrive Paradigm audio and the Rainbow Gems, which are divine soul guidance. They're the sayings that I say so many times to my coaching clients that they just embed them. So I'm currently doing readings on my Telegram channel with them, so people can actually get used to how to work with them. So that's all free, and you'll see that there's the opportunity to book a call if you'd like to explore doing something further with me. Then I'm very happy to have a call with you. And there's two options, so just see which one works for you: the desire mapping or the sacred union call. And starpeaceconsciousness.com is really the movement. This is this concept of creating peace in one generation and how we can actually go about doing it. So there you will discover three avatars: energizers, builders, and architects of the new earth. And depending on which one you resonate with, it will take you to a different website, to a different place. So you can explore that and see. And if the Rosanna Hanness website then becomes relevant to you, as a result of this. So that's typically, you know, CEOs, thought leaders, those who have like a public profile or are working mainly in entertainment and media, then that's more suited to them. But ultimately, just explore them. You can find me on TikTok. I'm on a big mission to grow my TikTok channel at the moment. And yeah, I mean, the infinite abounds, right? So if you just check the websites out, they will definitely give you your next steps, and I look forward to connecting with anyone who feels the call.
Rosanna, thank you so much for joining us here today. It's been beautiful. I knew it would be. And of course it has been. So thank you so much for joining us here today. I'm really grateful to you, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
So joy, thank you. Lots of love, Kia.